Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulih al-Kareem. Amma ba'd. Inshallah, in today's talk, we will talk about three more different kinds of ijma' which are not agreed upon. So we have previously talked about ijma' Sahaba, which is an agreed upon the source of evidence or of Hukm Shar'i. And last week we talked about ijma' al-Ummah. Today, inshallah, our target will be to cover ijma' al-Mujtahideen, ijma' Ahl al-Bayt, and ijma' al-Madina, inshallah. So when it comes to ijma' al-Mujtahideen, that's the easy one, inshallah. It will be very easy to cover. And the other two are, I think they might be a little bit dry. You have to bear with me. Inshallah, when we come to the conclusion, it will make more sense that why these are not considered as the agreed upon sources of Hukm Shar'i by the ulama. Okay. Now, the first one, which is ijma' al-Mujtahideen, the reason I said it is going to be straightforward or simpler today, at least. The reason is because it is similar to what we have discussed last week, which is ijma' al-Ummah. And instead of the unanimous agreement of the Ummah, we are discussing here the ijma' al-Mujtahideen, which is defined as a unanimous agreement of the Mujtahideen. Of the Muslim community of any period following the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what the definition of the ijma' al-Mujtahideen is. I will just take a few minutes to understand when we say mujtahid, what does it mean by mujtahid? Mujtahid is the one who has enough knowledge about the Arabic language and the Quran and the Sunnah and ijma' Sahaba, and he's aware of other opinions as well, and he has enough knowledge about the subject that he can extract the ruling of Islam. Now, this is just a very rough definition. Inshallah, in the later talks, we will go into more detail about the types of mujtahideen as well, and what do they mean, and inshallah we'll give some of the examples of the mujtahideen from the past. So now here, when we are talking about, is just to take this way, that these are those scholars who have enough knowledge to extract the ahkam. There's a difference between an alim who may know the opinions of other scholars and he can convey those opinions, compared to that a mujtahid is the one, he has a capability of his own to extract the rulings, or he can do the ijtihad. The ijtihad means he can exert the efforts to understand the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, now the evidences regarding this ijma' al-Mujtahideen are same that we discussed as the ijma' al-Ummah. So I'm going to leave this here, and so are the clarification about the evidences. But just a note that so we understand that in ijma' al-Mujtahideen assumes that basically, because as we have discussed about the Ummah also, we assume that they will always be good. Now here in the ijma' al-Mujtahideen, the assumption that they will all be good is not a correct understanding, because there are ayat and a hadith that refers to even the scholars who some of the scholars may not be good, they may go astray as well. And that can cause contradictions in the Hukm Shar'i, so as a source of Hukm Shar'i. As we said, the source of Hukm Shar'i has to be the one that is qat'i, is based on a dalil which is definite. Okay. Now, so moving forward, the other source that is not agreed upon is ijma' Ahl al-Bayt. When we say Ahl al-Bayt, let's talk about the definitions of that, inshallah, first, and then move forward. So the definition is ijma' Ahl al-Bayt is defined as unanimous agreement of the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And now there are obviously we'll talk about the issue of what does it mean by the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the evidences which are used. The evidences which are used are in general are these which are mentioned here. These are the two ayat, for example, from Surah Al-Ahzab. that talks about "Ba'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, ya nisa an-nabi lastunna ka'ahadin min nisa'i." Now here, this ayah of Surah Al-Ahzab starts with and that, "O wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you are not like any other woman." And then it goes on explaining that if you keep your duty to Allah, then be not soft in speech, lest he is in whose heart is disease should be moved with desire, but speak in an honorable manner. So it's just explaining to the women of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then the following ayah talks about وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَا تبرج الجاهلية الأولى, that and stay in your houses and do not display yourselves like that of the times of ignorance. وَأَقِمْنَا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَتِينَا الزَّكَاةَ, and establish the salah and give the zakah. وَأَطِعْنَا اللَّهَ وَأَطِعْنَا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ, and obey Allah and His Messenger. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ. That's the important part of the ayah, which is so I want to mention here what I am referring to is important here. So this part of the ayah that talks about إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. So here the word used here is a rijs. Rijs is important here. But the meaning of the ayah is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes only to remove a rijs, evil deeds and sins, etc., from you, O member of the family, meaning the Ahlul Bayt of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to purify you with a thorough purification. So, and inshallah in the following ayah. So here, from this, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes to purify or take the rijs away from the Ahlul Bayt. So the scholars who follow the ijma' Ahlul Bayt, they take this meaning as if it means that they are infallible, they cannot make a mistake, as we will see in the following slides, inshallah. So just keep in mind about this ayah, inshallah. And also they take this hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and their understanding comes down to, when we talk about Ahlul Bayt, who are the Ahlul Bayt? And from this hadith, which is mentioned in Tirmidhi as well, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Allahumma haulai ahlul bayti," that he's saying, "Oh my Rabb, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these are my ahlul bayti." So the part of the hadith, that the beginning part of the hadith actually talks about that who was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam referring to as ahlul bayt. So this hadith, which is reported by Tirmidhi, it mentions that when this ayah, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ رِجْسَ أَهْلِ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا, that indeed Allah Azza wa Jal wishes to remove the rijs, remove the evil from the Ahlul Bayt, وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا, and to clean them completely. Now, so this ayah was revealed في بيت سلمة, and the house of Salama was revealed. فدعا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فاطمة وحسنا وحسين فجللهم بكساء وعلي خلف ظهره فجلله بكساء ثم قال. So here Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم, what he did was, in the house of Salama, he called up Fatima, Hassan and Hussein, and wrapped them in his cloak. And then he said, "Oh Allah, these are the and Ali also, and these are the people of my family. So remove the rijs from them and purify them with a thorough purification." So now, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gathered them in his cloak, and he said, "Allahumma haulai ahlu bayti fadhhib anhum rijsa wa tahhirkum tathhira." So because he was referring to this ayah, and is connected to that, these are my ahlul bayt. So qalat Salama, the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whose house Rasulullah was at when the ayah was revealed, she said, "Wa ana ma'hum ya Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam." Am I among them, ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, referring to Ahlul Bayt? And Rasulullah, "Anti ala makanik wa anti ila khair," that you are in your place, and you are more virtuous to me. So now, from that, the scholars, they took it as if this means that family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam include only Hassan, Hussein, Fatima, and Ali radiallahu anhum. Now, that's one of the hadith and the ayah that we talked about. And there's another hadith, and similar to that, so some more hadith also, where Rasulullah says, "In tarikum fikum man in tamassaktum bihi lam tadillu ba'di ahaduhuma a'zam من آخر كتاب الله حبل ممدود من السماء إلى الأرض وعترتي أهل بيتي ولن يتفرق حتى يرد علي الحوض وانظروا كيف تخلفوني فيهما." Here, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is saying that indeed I am leaving with among you that which if you hold fast to them, you shall not be misguided after me. One of them is greater than the other. The book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a rope extended from the sky to the earth, and my family. So referring to is my family. So you hold on to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and my family. And he is saying that the people of my house, and they shall not split until they meet the Hawd, which is referring to Hawd Kawthar. So look at how you deal with them after me. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is asking about take care of them. Now, from these hadith and the ayat from Surah Al-Ahzab, the scholars who follow or who accept ijma' Ahl al-Bayt, they say that because they make the claim that Allah said has lifted the rajz from the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That means, and they equate the word rajz to mistake, meaning that they cannot make a mistake. So because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed the rajz from them. So according to their argument, Ahlul Bayt are infallible, which means they cannot make mistakes. They are ma'soom. And thus, the ijma' is legitimate source of sharia. Of course, if they cannot make a mistake, then that would make sense that they are whatever they agree on, that will be part of the sharia, and we are good to go, and we can take that as a source of evidence. So this is what the scholars who accept ijma' Ahlul Bayt as a source, and they use these evidences. Now, inshallah, we'll go one by one these evidences and see that why these evidences cannot be accepted for the source of evidence, not talking about what are the other use of these ayat and hadith, but not to use it as a source. What are those evidences? So now, one is the ayah in Surah Al-Ahzab, the meaning is not qat'i, because the word rijz, which is used for by those scholars as mistake, or which means they will not make any mistake. Does that mean that this is a qat'i word meaning or decisive meaning? And as we have discussed in the past, an ayah or the hadith that if it does not carry either one of the two, which was the reporting, which is a isnad, or the meaning, dalala. So thubut and dalala both have to be qat'i for the evidence to become qat'i or decisive. Okay, so now in this case, because this is the ayah of the Quran, so the proof is qat'i, of course. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the meaning of the word, which is al-rijz, is that qat'i or not? So we'll see inshallah in the following explanation that the meaning is not qat'i. Hence, this evidence as a whole cannot be considered as qat'i or decisive. Now, why am I saying this? Because the word rijz mentioned in the ayah means the lifting of suspicion or dishonesty, and not mistake. It does not mean the mistake, because we will see that as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in Surah Al-An'am, كَذَلِكَ يَجْعَلُ اللَّهُ رِجْسًا عَلَى الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Thus Allah puts the rijz, shame on those who believe not. So now here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explaining the meaning of rijz in another way. And then another place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Surah Yunus, وَمَا كَانَ لِنَفْسٍ أَن تُؤْمِنَ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَيَجْعَلُ الرِّجْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. It is not for any person to believe except by the leave of Allah. He will put the rijz, uncleanliness or filthiness, on those who are heedless. So it is not talking about the mistake. It's not used for the meaning of mistake, meaning so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has removed the uncleanliness away. Any kinds of the shame in a bad sense have been taken away from the Ahlul Bayt. There is no doubt about that. But to say that means that they will not make a mistake, that is not the correct meaning. And so rijz in these and many other places in the Quranic text denotes immoral or moral impurities, Removing the rijs does not mean in any way that they are infallible. To say that these people, Ahlul Bayt, are infallible is an incorrect understanding from that perspective. So that's one aspect of making sure that this is why these ayat cannot guide us to this understanding that Ahlul Bayt are infallible or they cannot make mistake. Okay. The ayah was revealed in regards to the wives of Rasulullah. As we saw, the beginning part of the ayah was talking about, as we go back, that beginning part of the ayah, Ya Nisa an Nabi, lastunna ka ahadin min an Nisa. So it is talking about the women, wives of Rasulullah in the beginning of the ayah. Now, so that's one aspect of it. The ayah was revealed in regards to the wives of Rasulullah as well. We're not disagreeing that Ahlul Bayt does not include Ali, Hassan, Hussein, and Fatima. Yes, they are part of it, but the wives of Rasulullah are also part of it because the ayah is discussing the wives of Rasulullah. So it is not exclusive to Fatima, Ali, Hassan, and Hussein. And especially since it is not, so would that mean that if you're going to say the Ahlul Bayt were infallible, does that mean the wives of Rasulullah were infallible as well? So that's the thing that we are going into, the direction we're going to, which is not correct. And the hadith that I mentioned about وَنَتَارِكُ فِيكُمْ, the hadith I mentioned above does not use this إِنِّي تَارِكٌ فِيكُمْ مَا تَمَسَّكُكُمْ بِهِ أَن تَضِلُّ بَعْدِي أَحَدُهُمَا عَدُوٌ مِنَ الْآخِرِ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ حَبْلٌ مَمْدُودٌ. So this one does not use the word ثَقَلَيْن. There's another hadith that uses the word وَأَنَا تَارِكٌ فِيكُمْ ثَقَلَيْن. So same thing, talking about two things that I'm leaving behind you. Now here, Zayd bin Arqam has backed this for clarification of this hadith. So Zayd bin Arqam, he actually, in this context of the hadith, he asked Hussein radiallahu anhu, actually Hussein said to Zayd, "O Zayd, who are his sallallahu alaihi wasallam's family? Are they not his wives?" He said, "Yes, his wives are his family, but his sallallahu alaihi wasallam family are those who have been excluded from accepting the sadaqah." So he inquired, who are they? They said they are the family of Ali, family of Aqil, the family of Ja'far, Hussein. Then asked, have all these people been excluded from accepting sadaqah? And he replied, yes. So when Rasulullah is talking about take care of that family, because they were the ones who are part of the family of Rasulullah, they are Ahlul Bayt, but they are the one who are not allowed to take the sadaqah. As we know, the family of Rasulullah was not allowed to take the sadaqah. From that perspective, Rasulullah was referring to that they should not be the one taking the sadaqah. But Ahlul Bayt does not only mean the five that were under the cloak of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So all this confirms that the mentioned ayat cannot be taken as evidence that the consensus of Ahlul Bayt and their infallibility is justified. This means Ahlul Bayt is not restricted to Fatima, Ali, Hassan, and Hussein radiallahu anhum ajma'in. But to understand that because of that, we cannot just say that this ijma' can be taken as a source of evidence for extracting the ahkam Shar'iyya. Okay. So that's the second part of, actually the third of the ijma'. Since last week we started that was. Now the last one, inshallah, that we will talk about will be ijma' Ahl al-Madinah. Now, when it comes to ijma', and ijma' means consensus of Ahl al-Madinah, the consensus of the people of the Medina. Now, the definition of that is ijma' Ahl al-Madinah is defined as unanimous agreement of the people of Medina. Simple as that. Now, obviously, when we define something, we have to have some sort of evidence behind it. And what the evidence used for that is the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is mentioned in Bukhari. There's a typo here. Okay. Bukhari says, "Innama al-Madinatu kal-kir tanfi qabathaha wa yansa'u tibuha." The hadith of Medina is like a pair of bellows furnace. It expels its impurities while it brightens and clears it good. Okay. Hadith is reported by Bukhari. But it is good to understand the context of the hadith. Even though I have just made that read only this part of the hadith, if you go back and look at the rest of the hadith, which is mentioned in the slide as well, the hadith actually talks about a Bedouin came to Rasulullah, an Arabi. He came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who gave the pledge of allegiance for accepting Islam to Rasulullah. And then he got an attack of fever in Medina, meaning he got sick. He came to Rasulullah and said, "Oh, Ya Rasulullah, cancel my pledge." He wanted to cancel the pledge. Rasulullah refused to do so. So the Arabi, he came again to Rasulullah and he said that cancel my pledge. But Rasulullah again refused him. So and then again the Bedouin came to Rasulullah. And Rasulullah can continue to do that. And then by Bedouin, this Arabi, he finally went away from Medina. So now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about that, "Innamal Madinatu kalkir." The Medina is like a pair of bellows or furnace. It expels the khabath. The khabath is the impurity, and it brightens and clears it good. So it's talking about the attribute of the Medina. So when we look at the hadith, it is referring to a quality of Medina, not the quality of the people here. But anyways, so they, or the ulama who follow the ijma' Ahl al-Madina, they say that because, and they refer to the khabath here means mistakes, meaning the Medina will be free of mistakes, basically saying. And in this case, the hadith would also indicate that its people are free from mistakes. Since the people are free from mistakes, it follows that their ijma' is considered valid. So this is the main idea behind ijma' Ahl al-Madina. And they use this as the evidence, the hadith that says, again going back, that says, "Innamal Madinatu kalkir, tanfi khabathaha wa yansa'u tibuha." That Medina is like a pair of a furnace or bellows. It expels all sorts of impurities while it brightens and clears its good. Okay. Now, based on that, they say all the people of Medina are mistake-free. They will not be able. They don't make mistakes. Hence, when they gather and they agree upon something, then it will be considered as a valid form of ijma'. Now, what is not correct here? What is not taken in consideration? So, number one, this hadith or the hadith, this evidence or the hadith used as evidence indicates an attribute of the city of Medina, not talking about the people. That it cleanses the people. It does not indicate the people of Medina as such themselves. That's number one thing. So it's the attribute of the city mentioned. And number two, any mistake in ijtihad is not considered as khabath, which means when we say that the people of Medina are mistake-free because they don't have the khabath, or the city cleanse the khabath out of the people, that doesn't, the ijtihad cannot be considered, the mistake in ijtihad is never ever considered as a khabath, because there is no reward. In the case of the khabath, there is no reward. But when we talk about ijtihad, we know if a mujtahid makes the ijtihad, meaning he extracts the rulings from the Quran and the Sunnah, and if he makes a mistake, he still gets one reward. And if he's right, then he gets two rewards. And according to one of the hadith, he gets 10 rewards. But anyways, the one who makes a mistake, he is being rewarded for his efforts. So that is not considered as khabath. The mistake, the incorrect ijtihad made is not considered as khabath. Okay, besides that, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has forbidden khabath, the filth. As we can see the hadith that says, "Thamanul kalb khabith." The price of a dog is evil, as the hadith reported by Bukhari. And another hadith says the earning of mahrul baghi khabith, meaning the earning of a prostitute is evil. So the here khabith is evil here. And al-khamr khabais, al-khamr is the mother of all khabais. Khamr here means the intoxicants. Intoxicant are the mother of khabais because it creates more evil because the consumer of that. Now, so here as we saw that the khabith or khabath does not carry the meaning of mistake. Rather, it is talking about evil or haram something. Now, moving forward, so what we see here is uh, about the, as I mentioned about there's another hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that says, "Inna Allah tajawaza an ummati al-khata والنسيان وما تكره عليه." That it says, if it was narrated by Abu Dhar Ghaffari, that Rasulullah said, Allah has forgiven me and my nation their mistakes and forgetfulness and what they are forced to do. So here, Rasulullah is talking about a mistake done while you are, for example, making a ijtihad. It is not considered as a khabath. It is actually something you, first of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven, and you actually get the hasanat even for making a mistake. So khabath cannot be considered as an error, and ijma ahl al-Madina cannot be taken as infallible, because that's what you are taking into, that ijma of the ahl al-Madina is infallible. They cannot make a mistake. While that's not what the khabath mean. Since that's not what the khabath mean, then we cannot say that just because Medina can take care of the khabath mean that the people are mistake free. People can still make mistakes. So furthermore, the hadith used to justify ijma' al-Medina is not qat'i. So there are two aspects of it. One is the word which is used as the khabath is not does not make the people of Medina as mistake free. Number two, the hadith itself is not qat'i. And we know if the hadith or any part of the evidence is not considered qat'i, then we cannot use that as an evidence for the source of evidence, because everything will be built on top of it. So these are the things that I want to discuss today. Inshallah, next week I'll try to cover istihsan and shar' min qablina, which is the laws revealed before Islam. I will not go into that today, because it's better that we stop here. And if there is any questions or comments on the subject covered, inshallah, I'll try to address if I can. Yeah. Okay, so we'll stop here. If there's any questions or comments, please let me know. I believe that today's topic is a little bit rough, but inshallah, I mean dry, but inshallah, it will sink in better when we further go along with ijtihadat and stuff. Okay, there is a question from Brother Taslim.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes.
Yeah, the question is not about actually the ijma, but the definition of Ahlul Bayt.
Mm-hmm.
So because we know that the our Shia brothers community, they mentioned that hadith very feverishly, and some others also the same hadith, that the which include those 5 people as Ahlul Bayt. But based on the hadith that you shared today, looks like Ahlul Bayt is not just those 5 people, but all the Ummahatul Mu'mineen, as well as his uncle and his other relatives were also part of it, because you cannot give them sadaqah.
Right. Yeah. So that's the key thing, right? So I was not discussing just the Shia here or the Shia brothers. I was more discussing the concept of ijma' aspect of it, ijma' Ahl al-Bayt, that whether this can be taken as a source of evidence or not. So there are 2 aspects, of course. One was, part of that was to understand that you cannot just say Ahl al-Bayt are only those 5. Rather, they are more than that, and that's one part. Second part is to understand when the ayah is even talking about rijs. Rijs does not mean mistakes or become Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken the rijs away from the Ahlul Bayt. Does not mean that they are infallible now. They cannot make mistakes anymore. Okay, because that's another aspect of it where some people get deviated from this idea as well. Okay, Jazakallah khair.
And I think this is where the idea of Masumin comes into play.
Yes.
Maybe this is a source for that.
Yes.
And
And this is why the stress on this subject when we discuss this idea of ijma' Ahlul Bayt is to clarify these two concepts. What does ar-rijs mean and who are part of Ahlul Bayt? If you clarify these 2 points, I think the things become very clear automatically.
Jazakumullah khair.
Well, yeah. Okay. Any other question?
Nothing on social media.
I see the hand is raised. You're done, right? I can take you down. Okay. If there is no questions, inshallah, we'll stop here and we'll meet next week. Obviously, we have a Sira session tomorrow at 8 as well. Okay. Jazakumullah khairan. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.